The Galactic Council Station floated in the darkness of space like a giant metal flower. Its silver walls reflected the light of 3 nearby stars, creating patterns that danced across its surface. Inside the main conference hall, delegates from hundreds of worlds sat in carefully arranged circles, each species in their own special section. Ambassador Marcus Webb walked into the hall carrying a small cooler in one hand and his diplomatic papers in the other. The human section was near the back, which suited Marcus just fine. He preferred watching the chaos from a distance before jumping in to help. The current chaos involved 2 very angry alien species. The Vorthan Empire representatives sat on one side of the room, their dark purple skin gleaming under the lights. Their leader, General Vex, had 4 arms and a voice that sounded like grinding metal. On the other side sat the crystalline collective delegates, looking like walking diamonds with too many sharp edges. For the past 6 hours, both sides had been shouting about mining rights in the Kepler Nebula. The nebula contained enough rare minerals to power entire civilizations for centuries. Both species claimed they had found it first. Both species were wrong, but neither wanted to admit it. Marcus opened his cooler and pulled out a cold beer. The sound of the bottle opening echoed in the sudden silence that followed. Every alien eye in the room turned to stare at him. He took a long drink and smiled. "Gentlemen," Marcus said, his voice carrying easily across the hall. "Ladies, honored crystalline beings. You have been arguing about the same thing for 3 days now. Maybe it is time to try something different." General Vex's 4 arms crossed over his chest. "The primitive mammals think they can solve what greater minds cannot. How amusing." The crystalline collective's speaker, a being that looked like a walking chandelier, made a sound like breaking glass. "The flesh creatures bring their poison water to a place of serious discussion. They show no respect." Marcus set his beer down on the table with a soft clink. The sound seemed louder than it should have been. "Poison water, huh? That is interesting. On Earth, we have a saying. When someone calls your beer poison, you know they have never really lived." He stood up slowly, his hands resting on the table. "But you want to talk about respect? Let me tell you about respect. Respect is not shouting at each other for 3 days straight. Respect is not claiming you own something that belongs to nobody. Respect is finding a solution that works for everyone." The Vorthan general laughed, a sound like rocks grinding together. "And what solution do the humans propose? Will you give us pretty words and empty promises like the other mediators?" Marcus picked up his beer and took another drink. He could feel the tension in the room growing thicker. The other delegates leaned forward in their seats, waiting to see what would happen next. "Actually," Marcus said, "I have a better idea. Instead of fighting over who gets to strip mine the nebula, why not move it somewhere everyone can use it?" The silence that followed was complete. Even the air recycling system seemed to stop humming. The crystalline speaker's light dimmed. "Move it? You cannot move a nebula. That is impossible." "Move an entire nebula?" General Vex's voice rose higher. "The energy requirements alone would bankrupt a dozen civilizations. The engineering challenges are beyond any known technology." Marcus smiled and set down his beer. "Hold my beer," he said quietly. The phrase meant nothing to the aliens, but something in Marcus's tone made them all lean forward. The human ambassador walked to the center of the room, his footsteps echoing in the silence. "The Kepler Nebula is approximately 4 light-years across," Marcus began, his voice calm and steady. "It contains 17 different types of rare minerals, including 3 that do not exist anywhere else in the galaxy. Both of your species need these minerals. Both of your species are willing to go to war to get them." He stopped in front of the main display screen and gestured to it. The screen showed a 3-dimensional map of the nebula, with its swirling clouds of gas and rock. "But here is what you are not thinking about," Marcus continued. "The nebula is not fixed in space. It is already moving, following the gravitational currents between the stars. All we need to do is change its direction." General Vex stood up, his purple skin darkening with anger. "Impossible. The gravitational forces involved are beyond measurement. No known technology could alter the path of something so massive." "Known technology," Marcus repeated. "That is the key phrase, right? There." He turned to face the assembled delegates. 300 years ago, my people thought it was impossible to fly. 200 years ago, we thought it was impossible to leave our planet. 100 years ago, we thought it was impossible to travel. Faster than light, the crystalline speaker's light flickered. Your species has achieved faster than light travel for only 100 years. That is nothing. We have had such technology for millennia. True, Marcus nodded. But we have spent those 100 years doing things with it that you never imagined. While you were perfecting your existing technology, we were breaking the rules you thought could not be broken. He walked back to his table and picked up a small device from his briefcase. It looked like a simple tablet computer, but when he activated it, holographic images filled the air above the conference table. The images showed massive human ships, but not the sleek, elegant vessels that most species preferred. These ships looked like they had been built from spare parts and held together with hope and stubbornness. They had engines that glowed with strange energy and hulls covered in equipment that no alien engineer would recognize. "These are gravitational manipulation vessels," Marcus explained. "We have been using them for terraforming projects, moving asteroids, adjusting planetary orbits, redirecting comets. Small stuff, really." The room was so quiet that Marcus could hear his own heartbeat. "Last year, we moved our moon 3,000 kilometers closer to Earth because our tides were not strong enough for a surfing competition. The project took 6 days and cost less than a typical wedding. Several delegates made choking sounds. Moving a nebula would be more complex, sure," Marcus continued. "But the principle is the same. We map the gravitational fields, identify the pressure points, and apply force in the right places at the right times. Like pushing a soap bubble through water." General Vex's 4 arms were shaking. "You moved your moon for a sporting event?" "Best waves in the solar system," Marcus said proudly. The championship was legendary. The crystalline speaker's light had gone completely dim. The energy requirements, the precision needed, the risk of destabilizing entire star systems. Marcus shrugged. "Every project has risks. That is what makes it fun." He finished his beer and set the empty bottle on the table. "So here is my proposal. We move the Kepler Nebula to a neutral position between your 2 territories. We set up a joint mining operation with shared profits. Everyone wins, nobody dies, and we all get rich together." The silence stretched on for what felt like hours. Finally, General Vex spoke, his voice barely above a whisper. "You are serious?" "Dead serious," Marcus replied. "Hold my beer and watch what happens next." Dr. Lisa Chun stood in the control room of Project Stellarhammer, watching 17 different screens show impossible things happening in space. On screen 3, a planet the size of Mars was slowly moving away from its star. On screen 7, 3 moons were being arranged into a perfect triangle around a gas giant. On screen 12, an asteroid belt was being sorted by mineral content like groceries at a supermarket. "Lisa," called Tom Bradley from his workstation. "We just got a priority message from Ambassador Webb at the Galactic Council. He needs proof that we can move the Kepler Nebula." Lisa laughed and took a sip of her coffee. The mug had a picture of Earth with the words "Home Sweet Home" written underneath. "Proof? Has he not been watching our progress reports?" Tom shook his head. "Apparently the aliens think moving a nebula is impossible. They want a demonstration. Impossible?" Lisa walked over to the main display screen. It showed a map of human Space with dozens of ongoing projects marked in bright green dots. Tom, pull up the Henderson System project. Let's show our alien friends what we do for fun on weekends. The main screen changed to show a star system that had not existed 6 months ago. Where once there had been empty space, now 3 planets orbited a relocated star. Gardens covered the surface of the first planet. The second planet had oceans filled with earthfish. The third planet was still under construction, with massive machines reshaping its continents. We moved an entire star system because the colonists complained about the view from their old planets, Lisa explained to the room. It took us 4 months and cost less than building a new shopping mall. She turned to her communications officer. Betty, open a channel to the Galactic Council. Let's give Ambassador Webb something to show his new friends. Betty Rodriguez had been working with Lisa for 5 years. She was used to impossible requests. By now, channel open, Doctor. You're live to the council chamber. Lisa smiled at the camera. The image would be transmitted instantly across hundreds of light years to the council station. Hello, Ambassador Webb. I understand some of our galactic neighbors think humans cannot move a nebula. That's adorable. On the screen, Lisa could see Webb trying not to laugh. Behind him, dozens of alien delegates stared at the transmission, with expressions ranging from confusion to terror. Dr. Chun, Webb said formally, the Council would appreciate a demonstration of human gravitational manipulation capabilities. Of course, Lisa replied. Tom, show them the grocery list. Tom's fingers danced across his controls. The main screen split into multiple views showing human projects throughout the galaxy. Each project had a simple label written in cheerful yellow letters. Project Sunset. Moving binary stars closer together so colonists can have better sunsets. Lisa read from the screen. Project Breakfast. Adjusting planetary rotation so every world has a 24-hour day cycle. Project Swimming Pool. Digging artificial oceans on 17 desert planets. The alien delegates on the screen looked like they were having trouble breathing. Project Home Improvement. Relocating the Henderson system because the residents wanted a better neighborhood, Lisa continued. Project Garden Party. Terraforming 43 moons for agricultural use. Project Weekend Fun. Building a racetrack around Jupiter using captured asteroids. General Vex's voice came through the speakers, sounding like he was choking. You moved entire star systems for entertainment. Lisa shrugged. Why not? Space is big. There's plenty of room to rearrange things. Besides, our people work hard. They deserve nice views and good sunsets. She walked over to another control panel. Tom, show them the current Henderson system stats. Numbers appeared on the screen. Population, 2.3 million humans. Food production, 340% above galactic average. Happiness rating, 98.7%. Time to complete stellar relocation, 127 days. Cost, approximately equal to building 3 Earth shopping centers. The Henderson system produces enough food to feed 12 worlds, Lisa explained. The residents have perfect weather year-round, and they get to watch double sunsets every evening, because we positioned their planet just right between 2 stars. The crystalline collective speaker's light was flashing rapidly. The energy requirements, the precision needed. How is this possible? Lisa grinned. Good question. Tom, bring up the technical specs for Operation Cosmic Bowling. A new image appeared on screen. It showed a massive human ship that looked like someone had welded a dozen different vessels together. The ship was easily 10 kilometers long, with engines that glowed blue-white and strange equipment covering every surface. This is the U.E.'s Hammer Time, Lisa announced proudly. She's our flagship gravitational manipulation vessel. Built from salvaged alien technology, human engineering, and about 30 years of trial and error. She pointed the different parts of the ship, Those are gravitational field generators. We borrowed the basic technology from a crashed Zain-Thari probe and made it 10,000 times more powerful. Those spinning rings create artificial mass points. And those dishes that look like satellite receivers, they map gravitational currents across entire star systems. Captain Roy Martinez's voice came through the speakers from the ship's bridge. Dr. Chen, we're ready for demonstration run 7. Should we show the aliens how we play cosmic bowling? Do it, Roy, Lisa replied. But keep it simple. We don't want to scare them too much. The screen changed to show an asteroid field near the edge of human space. Thousands of rocks drifted in the darkness, ranging in size from basketballs to small moons. The UE's hammer time moved into position at one edge of the field. The object of cosmic bowling, Lisa explained to the stunned alien delegates, is to use gravitational manipulation to guide asteroids into specific patterns. It's excellent practice for precision stellar engineering. The hammer time's engines glowed brighter. Invisible gravitational fields reached out like invisible hands, gently pushing and pulling at the asteroids. Slowly, the rocks began to move into formation. Within 10 minutes, the asteroids had arranged themselves to spell out "Hello Aliens" in letters 50 kilometers tall. The message was visible from 3 different star systems. High score is still held by the UE's Cosmic Dancer, Roy's voice announced cheerfully. They managed to arrange 4,000 asteroids into a working clock that shows galactic standard time. Took them 6 hours and a lot of beer. The silence from the Galactic Council chamber was complete. Lisa looked directly into the camera. So, about moving that nebula, when do you want us to start? Because honestly, it sounds like a fun challenge. We've been getting bored with just moving planets around. She paused and took another sip of coffee. Fair warning though, we'll probably want to add some improvements while we're at it. Maybe sort the minerals by type. Set up some automated mining stations. Install a few rest stops for travelers. You know, the usual. Betty leaned over and whispered, "Doctor, I think General Vex just fainted." Lisa glanced at the screen. Sure. Enough. The Vorthan general was being helped back to his seat by 3 assistants. Several other delegates looked like they needed medical attention. Oh, Lisa added, and we'll want to paint some racing stripes on the nebula when we're done. It'll look much better that way. The news spread across the galaxy faster than light itself. On the homeworld of the Zain-Thari hegemony, Master Calculator Prim stood before the most powerful computer in known space. The machine filled an entire building and could solve mathematical problems that would take other civilizations centuries to complete. "Computer," Prim said in his careful, precise voice, "calculate the probability that humans can actually move the Kepler Nebula, as they claim." The computer hummed for exactly 3.7 seconds. Then it displayed an answer that made Prim's 3 eyes blink rapidly. "Error. Cannot compute. Variables exceed logical parameters." Prim tried again. "Computer, analyze human engineering capabilities based on demonstrated projects." This time the computer hummed for 12 minutes. Finally, words appeared on the screen. Analysis complete. Conclusion: humans are either impossibly advanced or completely insane. Possibly both. Recommend immediate psychological evaluation of entire species. Computer, predict human behavior patterns for the next galactic year. The computer made it sound like electronic screaming and shut down completely. Smoke began pouring from its circuits. Prim stared at the broken machine and felt something he had never experienced before: complete mathematical confusion. His people had been calculating probabilities for thousands of years. Nothing had ever made their computers crash from pure bewilderment. On the other side of the galaxy, Admiral Rex Thompson sat in his office aboard the UE's Earthbound, reading messages from 17 different alien civilizations. The messages all asked the same basic question: are you humans planning to rearrange our solar systems too? Rex was a simple man who liked simple solutions. He had fought in 3 wars, commanded 12 different starships, and raised 6 children. Nothing much surprised him anymore. But the panic in these alien messages was starting to amuse him. He picked up his coffee mug. It was white ceramic with blue letters that read, "Galaxy's #1 Dad." His youngest daughter had given it to him for his birthday last year. He took a long drink and started typing his response. "To whom it may concern," he wrote. "Thank you for your interest in human engineering projects. We are not currently planning to move your solar systems. However, if you would like us to improve your neighborhood, please submit a formal request with detailed specifications. Standard rates apply. Coffee and snacks provided during construction." He paused and added, "P.S. We're just getting started." Rex sent the message to all 17 civilizations and leaned back in his chair. Through his office window, he could see the human fleet preparing for routine patrol missions. The ships looked like flying junkyards compared to the sleek alien vessels he had seen in military reports. Human ships were built for function, not beauty. They had mismatched hull plates, exposed cables, and equipment bolted on wherever it would fit, but Rex knew what those ugly ships could do. The U.S. Pizza Express could deliver hot food to any point in the galaxy in under 30 minutes. The U.S. Moving Day had once relocated an entire planetary government because the aliens had asked nicely. The U.S. Weekend Project was currently building a space station powered entirely by solar panels and cosmic radiation. His communications officer knocked on the door. "Admiral, we're getting priority signals from the Galactic Defense Force. They want to know if we need military assistance with our Nebula project." Rex almost choked on his coffee. Military assistance? For moving some gas and rocks around? What do they think we're doing, invading someone? "I think they're scared, sir," the officer replied. "Their message includes a list of defense fleets being positioned around human space. For observation purposes, they say." Rex stood up and walked to his window. In the distance he could see alien ships gathering. Sleek Vorthan cruisers, elegant crystalline vessels, and dozens of other designs he didn't recognize. They hung in space like nervous birds, keeping their distance but watching everything the humans did. "Scared of us?" Rex shook his head. "We're engineers, not conquerors. Our biggest weapons are construction equipment and really good coffee." He turned back to his officer. "Send a message to all those defense fleets. Tell them they're welcome to watch, but they should bring snacks. This is going to take a while, and space gets boring." On the crystalline homeworld, Bright Council leader Gleam called an emergency session. The council chamber was a massive crystal cave that reflected light in impossible patterns. 12 of the most important crystalline beings in the galaxy gathered to discuss the human problem. "The flesh creatures have demonstrated capabilities beyond our understanding," Gleam announced, his voice creating musical echoes in the chamber. "They move celestial bodies like children playing with toys." Council member Sparkle flickered nervously. "Our deep space sensors have detected human activity in 47 different star systems. They appear to be conducting simultaneous engineering. Projects on a scale we thought impossible." "What kind of projects?" asked Council member Shine. Sparkle's light dimmed with embarrassment. "Yesterday, they built a space station that orbits a black hole. The station is powered by gravitational energy and serves excellent coffee to passing travelers. They called it a rest stop for cosmic road trips." The council chamber fell silent, except for the gentle chiming of crystal beings trying to process this information. "They also," Sparkle continued reluctantly, "have created what they call a galactic internet. It uses subspace communication networks to allow instant messaging between any 2 points in the galaxy. The primary use appears to be sharing pictures of small Earth animals and complaining about their jobs." Council member Dazzle made a sound like breaking wind chimes. "They have solved galactic communication problems just to share animal pictures?" The human communication network, Sparkle said slowly, is more advanced than anything we have ever built. And they use it primarily for entertainment. Back on the UE's Earthbound, Rex was reading more messages from nervous alien governments. The moth people of Sigma-7 wanted to know if humans could make their suns brighter. The rock creatures of Planet Stone asked if humans could give them softer gravity. The tree folk of the forest worlds wondered if humans could install better weather systems. Admiral, his communications officer said, we're also getting reports from our exploration teams. The aliens are calling emergency sessions across the galaxy, something about human unpredictability being a threat to galactic stability. Rex laughed so hard he nearly spilled his coffee. Unpredictable? We're the most predictable species in the galaxy. We see a problem, we fix it. We see something that could work better, we improve it. We see empty space, we fill it with useful stuff. He stood up and walked to the main display screen. It showed a map of human space, with green dots marking active projects. There were hundreds of dots scattered across dozens of star systems. Look at this, Rex said, pointing at the screen. We're building solar panel farms around dead stars. We're creating artificial moons for planets that need better tides. We're setting up rest stops along major space routes so travelers don't get lost. The communications officer studied the map. Sir, the aliens seem to think we're preparing for some kind of galactic conquest. Rex shook his head. Conquest? Who has time for conquest? We're too busy making the galaxy a better place to live. Although, he added thoughtfully, if they keep sending us worried messages, we might have to build a customer service department to handle all the complaints. He finished his coffee and looked out at the gathering alien fleets. Tell you what. Send another message to all those nervous governments. Tell them we're planning our biggest project yet. Something that will change how the entire galaxy thinks about space engineering. What should I tell them the project is, sir? Rex grinned. Tell them we're going to demonstrate proper nebula management. And if they want to watch, they should. Bring lawn chairs and popcorn. This is going to be educational. The emergency meeting took place on Neutral Station Omega, a massive space platform that floated between 3 star systems. Representatives from the Vorthan Empire and the Crystalline Collective sat at opposite ends of a long table, their usual hatred temporarily forgotten. Between them sat delegates from dozens of other species, all united by one thing: fear of human unpredictability. General Vex spoke first, his 4 arms gesturing dramatically. The humans have become too dangerous to ignore. They treat impossible engineering like a hobby. They move planets for entertainment. They must be stopped before they destabilize the entire galaxy. The crystalline speaker, whose name was Sharp Light, flickered in agreement. Our species have fought for generations over the Kepler Nebula. Now the humans offer to move it like furniture. This casual approach to cosmic forces threatens everything we understand about reality. Ambassador Hollow from the Zenthari hegemony held up a datapad. Our computers cannot calculate human behavior patterns. Every attempt results in system crashes. From a mathematical perspective, humans should not exist. They have turned physics into a game, added Speaker Stone from the Rock People. Last week, they offered to give our planet better gravity because they thought we looked sad. The meeting continued for hours. Species that had been enemies for centuries found common ground in their shared terror of human engineering. They formed committees, signed treaties, and made plans. By the end of the day, they had created the Alliance for Galactic Stability, with one simple goal: contain humanity before they broke something important. Meanwhile, on a space station orbiting a blue star, engineer Jake Williams was having the time of his life. The station was called the Cosmic Brewery, and it existed in a pocket of subspace that Jake had discovered by accident while trying to fix a broken coffee machine. Emma, Jake called to his partner, hand me that wrench. The quantum fermentation tanks are making that humming sound again. Emma Torres had been a bartender on Earth before she became an astrophysicist. She understood both beer and space physics, which made her perfect for this job. Which humming sound? The happy humming or the about to explode humming? The happy humming, Jake replied, crawling under a tank that glowed with soft purple light. The beer is ready. And according to these readings, the fermentation process is generating enough clean energy to power 3-star systems. Emma checked her instruments. Jake, are you sure this is safe? We're brewing beer in a dimension that technically doesn't exist. That's what makes it so good, Jake said, emerging from under the tank with his face covered in beer foam. The yeast loves subspace. It ferments faster, tastes better, and somehow improves our communication systems every time we make a new batch. The Cosmic Brewery was Jake's proudest achievement. It produced the best beer in the galaxy while solving several scientific problems at the same time. The brewing process created clean energy, improved faster-than-light communication, and made everyone who drank the beer slightly better at understanding alien languages. Emma, we're getting a priority message from Admiral Thompson, called out Dave Miller from the communications station. Dave had joined the project because he heard there would be free beer. He stayed because watching Jake work was better than any science fiction movie. Put him through, Emma said. Admiral Thompson's face appeared on the main screen. Behind him, stars wheeled past the windows of his flagship. Jake, Emma, how's the brewery project going? Better than expected, Jake replied, wiping beer foam from his chin. We're producing energy, improving communications, and making the galaxy's best beer. Also, Dave discovered that if you drink our beer while listening to alien music, you can understand what they're really singing about. Fascinating, Thompson said. But right now we have a bigger problem. The aliens have formed an alliance against us. They think we're too dangerous to leave alone. Emma frowned. Dangerous? We're engineers. The most dangerous thing we've done is make coffee that's too strong. They're mobilizing fleets, Thompson continued, calling it protective observation, but it looks like they're preparing for some kind of intervention. Jake set down his tools and looked thoughtful. Admiral, how many ships are we talking about? Current count is around 3,000 vessels from 47 different species. They're positioning themselves at the edge of human space. 3,000 ships, Jake repeated slowly. All because they're worried about what we might do. Emma walked over to a control panel covered in blinking lights. Jake, remember what you said about the brewery improving our defensive capabilities? Jake's eyes lit up. Oh, right. The energy grid. Dave, bring up the defensive network display. Dave's fingers danced across his controls. The main screen changed to show a 3-dimensional map of human space. Dozens of green lines connected various human installations, forming a complex web of energy pathways. Ladies and gentlemen, Jake announced proudly, I present the Cosmic Defense Network. Powered entirely by beer brewing and operated by the most advanced artificial intelligence we've ever built. What does it do? Thompson asked. Emma grinned. It converts incoming hostile energy into useful power. Laser blasts become electricity. Missile explosions become heat for our space heaters. Nuclear weapons become fuel for our faster-than-light engines. You built a defense system that runs on beer? Thompson's voice was filled with admiration. Not just any beer, Jake corrected. Subspace beer. The dimensional properties make it incredibly efficient. Plus, every time someone attacks us, we get enough energy to expand our communication network. Thompson laughed so hard he had to sit down. So if they shoot at us, we get free power and better internet? Exactly, Emma said. And the best part is, the system automatically shares the energy with anyone who needs it. Attack human space, and you end up providing free electricity to half the galaxy. Dave looked up from his instruments. Admiral, we're detecting movement in the alien fleets. Looks like they're preparing to move. Thompson's expression became serious. Jake, Emma, how long until your defense system is ready? Jake checked his. Readings, it's already online, sir. Has been for 3 months. We were going to mention it, but we got distracted by the beer quality tests. The system is completely automated, Emma added. All we have to do is sit back and let physics do the work. Commander Sarah Mitchell's voice came through the speakers from her patrol ship. Admiral, this is Mitchell. The alien fleets are moving into attack formation. Should we prepare for battle? Thompson looked at Jake and Emma, who were both smiling peacefully while drinking beer from tall glasses. Sarah, stand down all weapons. Let them come. Sir? Thompson grinned at the camera. Sarah, have you ever seen what happens when someone attacks a brewery that exists in subspace? No, sir. Well, you're about to get an education. Jake, Emma, are you ready to show the galaxy what human engineering can really do? Jake raised his beer glass in a toast. Hold my beer, he said to the camera. Actually, wait, don't hold my beer. I'm going to need it for this. Emma laughed and activated the defense system. Cosmic Defense Network is active and ready. Let's show them what happens when you mess with human hospitality. On the screen, 3,000 alien ships move toward human space, their weapons charging. And their crews prepared for battle. They had no idea they were about to become unwilling participants in the galaxy's most educational demonstration of applied physics and really good beer. Captain Diana Foster stood on the bridge of the UES Cosmic Dancer, watching 3,000 alien ships approach human space. The ships formed a massive wall of metal and energy that stretched across several light years. Their weapons glowed with deadly power, and their communications were filled with battle chatter. Captain, called out her tactical officer, they're charging weapons. All ships are moving into attack formation. Diana took a sip from her coffee mug and smiled. The mug was decorated with a picture of Earth's moon and the words, "I moved this for fun." It had been a gift from the Henderson System colonists after the human fleet relocated their entire star system. Let them come, Diana said calmly. Jake, is the Cosmic Defense Network ready? Engineer Jake Williams' voice came through the speakers from his brewery station. Ready and waiting, Captain. The subspace beer fermentation is at peak efficiency. We've got enough energy stored to power a small galaxy. Diana nodded and opened the communication channel to all human ships. All vessels, this is Captain Foster. Remember, we're not here to fight. We're here to educate. Everyone grab a beer and enjoy the show. The alien fleet approached the boundary of human space like a massive storm cloud. General Vex commanded the Vorthan ships from his flagship, while Sharp Light coordinated the crystalline vessels. Behind them came representatives from dozens of species, all united in their determination to stop human expansion. Begin the attack, General Vex commanded. Target their largest installations first. 3,000 ships opened fire simultaneously. Energy beams, missiles, and exotic weapons created a light show that could be seen from neighboring star systems. The combined firepower was enough to destroy entire planets. But something strange happened when the weapons reached human space. The energy beams bent and twisted, flowing into invisible collection points scattered throughout the human territories. The missiles changed course and flew toward reception stations that shouldn't have existed. The exotic weapons simply vanished, their energy absorbed by devices that operated on principles the aliens didn't understand. What's happening? Sharp Light demanded, his crystalline form flickering with confusion. Our weapons are missing their targets. On his screens, General Vex watched his most powerful energy beams being redirected into what looked like giant beer bottles floating in space. Impossible. They're collecting our weapons' fire like rainwater. Diana Foster's voice came through the communication systems of all 3,000 ships. Thank you for the energy donation. The Cosmic Defense Network is now operating at 340% normal capacity. Would you like to see what we're doing with all this extra power? Before the aliens could respond, human space began to transform. The energy from their attacks powered massive construction projects that activated all at once. Space stations bloomed like flowers. Asteroid belts rearranged themselves into perfect geometric patterns. Dead planets suddenly developed atmospheres and began sprouting forests. Attention, alien fleet, Diana continued cheerfully. You've just provided enough power to complete Project Galaxy Garden. Thanks to your generous weapons fire, we can now terraform 43 worlds simultaneously. General Vex stared at his instruments in horror. His battle fleet's attack had become a power source for human construction projects. They're using our weapons to build things? Not just build, came Jake Williams' voice. Improve. Your missile explosions are heating our greenhouses. Your laser fire is powering our communication networks. And your exotic weapons are providing energy for our new entertainment complex. On the main screen, the aliens watched in stunned silence as a massive structure appeared in the center of human space. It looked like a combination of amusement park, shopping mall, and spaceport. Neon signs advertised Galactic Fun Zone, formerly the Kepler Nebula. We moved the nebula while you were shooting at us, Diana explained. It was easier to work while you kept us supplied with construction energy. The new location has better access routes and improved mineral extraction facilities. Sharplight's voice was barely a whisper. They relocated an entire nebula during our attack. Multitasking, said Emma Torres from the brewery station. We're good at it. Also, your weapons fire improved our beer quality by 23%. The Xenthari energy beams added a nice hoppy flavor. The alien fleet hung motionless in space, their weapons still charged but their crews too shocked to continue fighting. They had launched the largest military operation in galactic history, and the humans had turned it into a construction project. Admiral Thompson to alien fleet, came a new voice. Since you're all here anyway, would you like a tour of our new facilities? The Galactic Fun Zone has restaurants representing every species in known space. Deanna activated her ship's tractor beam, but instead of grabbing enemy vessels, it gently guided them toward docking bays that had materialized around the converted nebula. Everyone's invited. First round of drinks is on us. The next few hours were unlike anything in galactic history. Alien warriors who had come to destroy humanity found themselves drinking beer in floating restaurants, while human engineers explained how they had turned weapons fire into construction energy. The Vorthan generals learned about gravitational manipulation while eating pizza. The crystalline collective discovered that human music sounded beautiful when played through their crystal bodies. General Vex sat in a restaurant called the Cosmic Cafe, drinking beer that had been brewed in subspace and tasted better than anything he had ever experienced. Across from him, a human engineer named Tony was explaining how they had built the entire complex in under 6 hours. The trick, Tony said, is prefabrication. We had all the pieces ready. Your weapons fire just gave us the energy to put everything together at once. You planned this, Vex realized. You knew we would attack. Tony shrugged. We hoped you would. Free energy is always welcome. Plus, we needed a good excuse to throw a galaxy-wide party. Sharp Light found himself in a music hall where human musicians were playing songs that made his crystal structure vibrate in pleasant harmonies. He had never understood art before, but something about human creativity touched something deep in his crystalline core. This is impossible, he told the human musician, a woman named Carol who played something called a guitar. That's what makes it fun, Carol replied. Humans specialize in impossible things. We moved your entire war fleet to our party because we thought you might be lonely. 6 months later, The first annual Galactic Hold My Beer Festival was in full swing. The converted Kepler Nebula had become the galaxy's most popular entertainment destination. Species from across known space came to watch impossible engineering demonstrations and try human beer. The Zenthari had built a computer that calculated the probability of happiness. The Crystalline Collective had learned to grow gardens that sang. The Vorthan Empire had opened a chain of therapy centers for civilizations suffering from logic fatigue. Ambassador Marcus Webb stood on the main observation deck of the Galactic Fun Zone, holding a beer and watching alien families enjoy rides that defied physics. His job had changed from diplomat to director of Galactic Impossible Projects. To the impossible, he said, raising his beer to the assembled delegates from 100 worlds. Humanity's favorite kind of possible. Through the transparent walls, stars twinkled like decorations on the galaxy's newest and strangest achievement. Somewhere in the distance, human engineers were probably planning their next impossible project. And across the galaxy, civilizations that had once trembled in fear now trembled with laughter, having learned that when humans say, "Hold my beer," they're not preparing for war. They're preparing to make the impossible look easy, one outrageous project at a time.